Let's pray. Kind and all-wise Heavenly Father, we thank the Lord once again for this day that Thou hast given us. Father, we thank Thee for this country, this great country, the United States of America, the state of Georgia, and Jones County. Father, we pray many blessings upon this community. You have to bless this Board of Commissioners tonight as they continue the business for Jones County citizens. Give them the courage, the ability, and the wisdom to do the things right, the right way. Father, we ask Thou will bless the men and women in uniform, whether they be in the military, whether they be in public safety, or whatever. Father, again, we ask to bless each one that's gathered here tonight. Keep us ever under Thy care. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Allen, would you like to tell us a little bit about your time in the National Guard? I know you're familiar.
Welcome back to everybody. I got to speak loud enough about it. Anybody here over 61 years old?
61.
We're not saying.
We're not saying. Are you ready?
When I joined the Guard, quite a bit different from what I did today. I joined the what's called the Service Company, the 101st Infantry Brigade, was 40th Infantry Division. We were headquartered in the basement of Macon City Auditorium, and then we later moved out to Dartmouth Field, which is now close to Capital, and then became the headquarters company of the 162nd Sector Battalion, the 40th Army Division. So we went from infantry to army just rather quick after I joined. I was put in the transportation section as a driver. I drive a Jeep, I drive a pickup truck, drive a tractor or whatever. Ended up becoming an instructor for drivers. The whole time I was in there, was in the transportation section. And with the test driver, they give them a vision test, and a workers test, all that kind of stuff. And they had to have a military license to drive a military vehicle to drive on the regular Georgia driver's license. Then I moved up the line, became a battalion ammunition supply sergeant. Now, the battalion consisted of 4 line companies, we call them A, B, C, and D. And this one in the Theory, one in Fort Valley, and I think the other 2 were a long time ago. Then our headquarters company, and then the division headquarters. So I had to supply ammunition for all those people until some camp for Fort Stewart. If you think it's hot outside now, today, you didn't go to Fort Stewart in July and August. Mess around up there with tanks. And by the way, I never rode in a tank, though I was that thing. And if nobody else, CBS, I'm gonna give away any top secret military information. Anyway, I never rode in a tank, the whole time I was in. But with the second work was while we were training at Fort Stewart, the commander was in the requisition of the battalion headquarters of the amount of ammunition that we needed to forward. So we needed that day. He goes to the battalion and come down to me. That's in the requisition back to the ammunition zone. Then I was in the requisition back to the public room. I need so many trucks, so many drivers. Then another requisition back to the whole line companies. I need so many men to load ammunition for that. So we had to be up and at it at 7 o'clock every morning. The whole ammunition. And at the end of the day, I think that 90mm counters and 76mm counters, 105mm mortars. And over each round was 2 rounds per box. Box was about this long, about this high, and about this wide. Weighed about 75 to 80 pounds. At the end of the day, all those empty shell cases had to be piled over here. Empty boxes had to be cleaned up, stacked, put back on the trucks, carried back to salvage yard. But the aggravating thing was I had to sign a card to each individual box. Put one in the box and one on the box, stating that it was free of any live rounds of ammunition. So that was basically the main thing that I did while I was in National Guard. I did call in on tape one day. I did go there and try to count them, push a little button and go boom, and I came back out the top. But that was my time stint for the National Guard. But 9 years, enjoyed it. I would recommend anyone, nowadays coming up, I think they have a lot more programs, than we had back then, for the young people to get into, training, classes and stuff. But then we went in, we fell into ranks, everybody else didn't have the, 6 weeks, basic training that they have today when they go. So, that was my big favorite National Guard. Jump rifle range, and super rifle, close to that. That's pretty quiet. They were there in the Cold War days, between Cold War and Vietnam. I appreciate your advice, Jeff. I expect a room full of people. Y'all must be satisfied, folks.
We're trying to, we appreciate you. All right, thank you, Mr. Allen. Thank you very much. Again, thank you, Mr. Allen. We move on to board appointments. We have reappointments. Francis Roberts, Department of Family and Children Services Board for a new term of 5 year, a new 5-year term beginning July 1st, 2017 through June 30th, 2022. My understanding that Ms. Roberts would like to stay on the board. The department says she's a great asset, is always there and fills in, and would love the opportunity to serve again. With that said, I need a motion to reappoint Ms. Francis.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion. I have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? There been none? All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. And we move on to consent agenda and approval of minutes. Work session, May 2nd, 2017, 5:30 p.m. Third Tuesday, May 2nd, 2017, and the work session, May 9th, 2017, 4:30 p.m. Everybody had opportunity to look at that. We need a motion for this approval.
So move, Mr. Chairman.
All right, we have a motion. We have a second. Second. No discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it. New business. Energy agreement with Georgia Department of Transportation for the intersection of State Route 44. Georgia Department of Transportation is proposing a roundabout, Green Settlement Road intersections, State Route Highway 11 intersection, and State Route 22 intersection. Mr. Risner, I'm going to pick at you on this one. You had opportunity to email TDOT. You got some answers on that.
I think y'all have this on your desk. There were several questions and that I sent to them about different options that we might have. Several of these things they came back and said it's kind of the call of the chief engineer. I asked if we didn't sign the lighting agreements, would the roundabout still be constructed? That was one where he said the chief engineer would have to make the call there. He said it is a requirement that lighting be part of the roundabout, and it would be the call of the chief engineer whether or not the roundabout would be installed without lighting, if the county won't sign the agreement. There was a question about whether we could do the lighting on our own. He said we could as a utility permit. So he also said that's something that we'd have to do in consultation with the chief engineer. And I assume that means we would have to work through the GDOT utility process, permit process. Could we bid it out, and could we bid out the purchase and install of the lights? I didn't completely understand his response here. Talks about the lowest bidder. I assume that means the lowest bidder through their process, but I wasn't completely clear on that. Could Georgia Power or Tri-County install and maintain the lights? We would have to work through the GDOT utility permit process there, and they would have to approve the lighting plans prior to installation. there was a question about flat rate payments, and they said it was an option, but they advised against it. And then exactly how many lights would be covered by these lighting agreements. He said they're still reviewing the plans. The current designs show 8 lights at the roundabout and then 4 more at each of 3 other intersections for a total of approximately 20 fixtures. So that was the additional information I was able to get from them there.
My thoughts, you go through Grant, or you see all the street lights and whatnot that Gray's paying for, and they've got, I think, an agreement, if I'm not mistaken, with the utility provider in that area just for the services, and it's maintained. I don't know what GDOT's gonna, require, just a standard street light that we could possibly go to Tri-County or Georgia Power with and furnish, or they've got the elaborate interstate style lights that you might see on downtown, Bibb or Macon, something like that. That would be a, question. Street lights, they work good, but if they're gonna meet the requirements for GDOT, that would be the only question on those. Is there a cheaper alternative? But basically, it's if the lights aren't provided, the roundabout's not going in. Is that what I understand?
I don't think he gave us a direct answer on that. I think he said if the county says we're not going to sign the lighting agreements, then it would kind of be a call of the chief engineer.
Okay, all right, that's what I didn't know if it was like, they had to have the lights on the roundabout. Any other discussion?
DOT has not said that they won't pay for it.
Anything else? Commissioner Martin?
Sir,
Any suggestions?
I suggest it's a state route. I do have a question. How many accidents have we had at night? As far as I remember, all of them were during the day.
10 o'clock in the morning.
Since Sheriff Reese made the 4-way stop, I don't think there's been any.
But I mean, even before, when it was a big issue, did we have any at night, or were they all?
And if they don't want, if they say they throw up the hands and say they're not gonna build a roundabout, we're good with the 4-way stop.
It's working.
Yeah.
It's a little inconvenient, but it's working. I mean, we've had no accidents.
And we talked about, at some point that bypass will be developed, and the first place to develop is the 4 corners of the intersections. You're gonna get lighting there at some point. I'm weighing the need versus the gut feeling that do it or else. I don't do well with it.
I just don't wanna put the county taxpayers on the hook for $500,000.
We're a 50-year period.
Yeah.
I understand.
Could we get a price, like you mentioned, from Tri-County to determine what they would charge, and would that be acceptable to do those type of lighting?
I think we're gonna have to get an answer from GDOT as far as what
If
they
that's
will
acceptable.
allow. If they'll allow 8 standard street lights,
Yeah, what type of fixtures?
what kind of pictures, or were they talking about elaborate lunar poles with like you see going in Macon? Commissioner Martin,
I'm struggling here because we got a bypass. Now we're gonna get a roundabout because they didn't put lighting on the bypass, a traffic light. So the solution is a roundabout with lighting that we have to pay for. So we have not had any accidents. So it almost seems like the problem has been solved. We know when volume increases, it may not be the most sufficient thing at that time, but we're a long way away from that, quite possibly. So my thoughts are silly. Put it out to the people. Ask them some simple questions. Hey, do you guys want a roundabout? Do you want a roundabout with lighting? And are you willing to pay $500,000 for this lighting? Or should we keep it the way it is? And I don't know the fastest way to get that data back, but let's put it out there. What do people say?
Fine, whatever, Chairman.
sound like a Jones County News story there.
Survey of the month.
Put you on the spot, Ms. Dev. Go for it.
Survey of the month.
And
We haven't had the best luck with those surveys.
maybe have a town hall meeting. Invite the public to it, ask them, give them a chance to speak on what they think, and, but I think the first thing, if lighting is an option, we need some real numbers, I asked the question, where did the data come from? Where did those costs, from other towns we've done like this? I mean, we still don't have a number. How many light poles are there gonna be? Is it 8? Is it 4 more? Is it, you may need this one, you may need that one?
A total of approximately.
Yeah, so there's a lot of, I'm not sure in those answers. I hadn't seen a direct answer yet.
I guess we need to table this again till we get more information and maybe reach out to the public to get their input to see where they are.
Can the county get a Survey Monkey account where we can set that up? And as people, start to log in and communicate with us, we'll develop a bigger list. So that way we can get some real-time data.
Yeah, it's very easy to set up. You get up to 100 responses for free, and then when it gets over 100 responses, you have to pay, but it may be $25 a month or something like that. It's pretty small.
And there are so many things we could use that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Go for it.
Good deal. That being tabled, we can move on.
So moved.
All right. Number 2 is approval to go out for bid on additional cameras and security doors at the government center. Mr. President, are you handling it? Who's handling it? Was that Will or you? Guess you're on the hook again, aren't
You're
you?
still making a list.
Still making the list. Ms. Margie won't let you forget what we want.
So a couple months ago, 2 or 3 months ago, I guess, we started talking about, and it may have been before that, potentially looking at access control on the side doors. So the doors at the ends of each hallway. We have a lot of employees that park around on the sides of the building, and I think that's something we want to encourage, leave the front parking available for the public, but we've had issues through time with people propping doors open and that kind of thing to keep from having to walk around to either the front door or the back door. Obviously there are security concerns there, and so we initially looked at just an access control system for the 4 sets of side doors. As we got to talking about it, we're also interested in enhancing our security camera system that we have now. We have a system now. The image quality is not great, and so we started talking about, and it's just interior cameras. We don't have anything on the outside of the building. So we started kind of talking through that, and just decided it looked like the access control piece was going to be right about $10,000. We got several quotes. Some of them were just over 10,000. Some of them were just under. It was right around that bid threshold. And as we got to talking through bidding that out or not, we said we might as well put the cameras in at the same time. I think a lot of the same vendors would be interested in both. So the funding source that we have available is some money that the county received from ACCG sometime back, and my understanding is the board at that time allocated that money specifically for safety programs, and we've got about $45,000 available in that account, and it's our kind of best guesstimate on this project is about $30,000 between the cameras and the access control. There were about 20 cameras that we have, identified potential locations for, and we'll, as part of the RFP, we would ask interested vendors to tell us where cameras need to go. They might say you can get away with 15 and save some money. So at this point we're just coming to you asking for your permission to issue a request for proposals for a camera system for inside and outside this building, and access control system for the side doors.
Any question for Mr. Resner?
You talking keypads or cards for RFID?
RFID, the little key fobs.
One suggestion would be make sure that A, it's expandable, and B, it's not universal, but it can be used. And I don't know if the sheriff's department has key cards, but at least, if they already have a system, you can expand to that so that the sheriff's department can just code their card to get into these, not have 2 cards.
Yeah.
Right.
We have our little, looks like a little clicker. So it opens all the doors to the courthouse and our office. Works pretty well. We've never had any issues with it. It opens our main gate that's don't have to change batteries, nothing like that. I mean, we have these that you have to change batteries in, and then they have little smaller ones. They look like little plastic bucks, and I have to change the batteries in. It works well with a magnet system on the door.
Yeah.
Holds it shut.
Motion to go out for bid, RFP.
Any more, we got a motion, we got a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Ayes have it. Ready? Number 3 on our, new business, approval for medical insurance plan OAP 5, 2.5K, 7.15K, addition of telehealth, FSA, which is flexible saving account, and the continuation of the other supplements. Everybody's had opportunity to look at this. We've had a few work sessions on it. Any discussion on the
Motion to approve.
have a motion to approve? We have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Yep.
Yeah.
That tell us.
Should include that as an option for the employees.
It's
That
gonna be
would be
included.
that would be a paid for option by the county. Give them additional benefit. Is there any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed. Ayes have it. Number 4, naming rights on a park and recreation facility. Mr. Pitts, I think this is yours.
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. A growing trend right now is putting naming rights on facilities. You look at the Braves, the SunTrust Field. Look at Mercer. You have Ortho Georgia Field for their baseball stadium, Five Star Stadium for their football field. And with Macon-Bibb County, their Central City Park, there's an article in the paper where it's in a construction company. They donated maybe 4 scoreboards, a couple other items, and they have a 10-year naming rights on Central City Park. So therefore, I want to bring that to the Board of Commissioners. Some consideration for us that we put naming rights on the Highway 18 complex. It'll be a great marketing standpoint. Once we can get the fields ready, we could do signage. And as you talk to the potential investors, you find out what are they looking for a return on investment. For an example, do they want us to make sure that all the cups sold out of the concession stand are Jones County Board of Commissioners cups, whatever the case may be. And the idea that comes to mind is maybe 3 years at $45,000, 5 years for $75,000. When we was looking at this expansion a couple of years ago, Mr. Louis Lashley mentioned that he'd be willing to help us out in the community, talk to some different businesses. He said they'd be willing to be a sponsor and try to help us get this thing complete. With those naming rights, it gives us some additional resource for maintenance and upkeep. True enough, we have money in the budget, but any extra funds to help out with maintenance, upkeep, and improvements is always going to be a good thing. So what I'm going to do now is ask Matt if he has anything that he wants to share, and if not, I'll open up to discussion to the board.
Thank you, Mr. Pitts. All of our school boards that we currently have, as everyone knows, Parks and Recreation is subsidized. So all of our school boards, we have existing parks as well as the new parks have sponsorship locations on them. So that would be very easy to do, to grab sponsorships. The only thing I would say is I've tried to do this over previous years and always ran into a hurdle. I actually had a conversation with Mr. Jason earlier today about it. And a hurdle I've always ran into from the community is where's my money going to go to? How am I going to benefit Parks and Recreation? Now, Mr. Underwood's not here to defend himself, so I'm not trying to bash him by any means. I respect him well. But, Parks and Recreation being subsidized, any money that Parks and Recreation has ever brought in through tournaments, through pavilion rentals, through whatever we do, has always went back into general funds. So when I explain to people how the money works, from my knowledge, I've always ran into a wall right there because they've always said, well, if I'm just putting money back into general funds, then I'm not interested. I want to know my money is going to a particular thing. Then that's just my hurdle. So if we can figure out a way to, knock that wall down and not make it a hurdle anymore, I feel like it's a good idea. I mean, it happens around the state. Other parks have it. Other parks recreation departments have it. I'm not sure how their community works, but I like the idea. I think it's a good idea. I think there's some people in the community that would be willing to do it if we could, somehow make it appeasing to them.
One suggestion, and I'd like to hear Frank's opinion on it, is if so-and-so donates, a certain amount of money, yeah, it'll go into the general fund, but then the following year, we can take it from the general fund and put it in recreation.
Could we do a special line item in that, for that budget year of that money?
Yeah, we could do that, but I thought it was basically they were paying, it was advertising.
It's a form of advertising, and the way I throw it out is a form of advertisement. If like say
They
for
pay the county to have their
name or their
Right.
signage, and the county gets the money, we can use it towards recreation improvements and
the county would
enhancements.
have the discretion as to what to do with the money, but I'm sure a lot of it would go be budgeted for the parks and recreation, I'm sure.
Right.
But the people would be getting advertisement, not unlike the problem you've had before with people saying, what am I getting? Well, in this case, they're getting advertisement. I mean, that's what I understand this to be for, basically. Where they, but then the money would be budgeted by the board, and obviously more would go back into parks and recreation.
Was there a question kind of along the line of, am I buying bases or baseballs, or what am I actually doing?
Right. The people I spoke with wanted to know what tangible item am I benefiting? How am I benefiting the community by doing this? What tangible benefit do I get, or is the community getting?
I think we could come up with a long list if we can take the money in and then at budget time or whenever we can, move it to recreation.
I got one simple solution, much like concessions, divided evenly among all the sports teams. Football, basketball, baseball, track, soccer, solves the problem.
That would be beneficial. I mean, our families are paying anywhere from $100 to $110 per kid to participate.
$135. We're still driving. So, I mean, that's a simple solution. It goes right to the programs. And that helps to subsidize that crazy high number, because you're still buying stuff. That's just the fee to get in.
Right.
Plus track shoes and football stuff, whatever.
Would we then restrict someone if they wanted to donate, say they wanted to name a field after me, and I got all boys and they only play football, and I want all my money to go to football? Would we say, no, we gotta split it between, all right, well then I'm out?
I guess I would like to see us, you can also, I guess the term might be a la carte it. I mean, if we can have a line, I mean, it's a whole list. And if you want to put $1,000, you can name this football field, $1,000 for this 1 year, 3 years, whatever the case may be. And we'll put donated by Matt Goins on the football field, and that $1,000 goes towards football. And we just have that agreement, we're talking to 20 different businesses, and 20 businesses can choose what item they want for $1,000, and then they will go on that one item.
But then at budget time, we could do a one-time line item for that project on Matt's budget, I would think, couldn't we?
The only hurdle I would see there is, by doing that, you would probably have a lot of people that would benefit football and baseball, but you would leave out soccer, you would leave out track, you would leave out basketball. You would those sports would not be as beneficial to this program.
Okay, because a portion of the naming rights, being that they do, I'm making this up, being that they do not get as many donations as baseball and football. If we did $15,000 a year, $10,000 may go towards parks and rec and improvements, but $5,000 go towards track, basketball, and then try to enhance those programs.
We had to go through this process when Mother's Day tornado 2008 wiped out the sports complex. And they built some stuff back, and we had people that wanted to name a field. You gotta be real careful on naming a field, because if it becomes the Matt Goins football field, and then Matt Goins decides 3 years from now he doesn't want to re-up that contract, are we gonna change it to the, Chairman Widener field? Because, people start, that's name is associated with that field, then we have to change it every 3 years. So we gotta be careful about naming fields. But I think Frank was right about, if you're gonna sell advertisement space, that advertisement space, they're getting their benefit from the advertisement. that money should be able to divide it between all sports on our end. The other thing that we've seen is if somebody wants to donate $10,000 or $20,000 for a pavilion, a gazebo, or a batting cage or whatever it is, then they can name that batting cage because it's not going to change. They put a lump sum towards building that amenity and they name it. But I'd be real careful about naming a baseball field or a football field.
That makes sense.
You use, it's bad to say, but you can't say I want to give $5,000 a year for my company's logo to be on a scoreboard. That's the benefit you get for that's paid advertisement. And then I also want to tell you I want 100 to go here and 1,000 to go here. I mean, that's just part of the deal. You sell advertising space, and then as a board, the best interest of the community is that all sports thrives. One doesn't thrive.
That would be the way I would have. Sure. The allocation of it would be up to the board without the business owners really having much say about where the money goes.
Well, I guess the only reason I mentioned them giving me some say-so because if they're making a $45,000 investment, true enough, I want my name on the sign, but I may want a couple of other things, and I would hate, that's reasonable, within line, to turn down a $45,000 investment because we won't allow them to sell, Chairman Weiner cups at the concession stand. And he's gonna provide them. We just use your name, right? Just use your name.
$45,000, that's a different story.
Well, that's what I'm proposing. It's like a 3-year, $45,000 deal, so that you do have some say so. And like I said, you get in the advertisement, and all games and sports will be played at Chairman Weiner Field. But at the same time, if he wanted to throw in, like I said, cups for the concession stand that he's funding out of his own pocket, I don't see why we cannot use his cups because he gave us $45,000 to help improve our overall facilities.
He's gonna hand you the cup.
And I mean, when you buy your Coke, it's gonna be in the Chairman Weiner cup, and you drink out of his cup for the next 3 years.
You draft a level of sponsorship, I think, this amount of money is just your advertisement, rest of it goes into there. Over 20,000, you get this and this. 45,000, you get cups at concession stand.
Can we settle it all now, or do we need to do a work session?
Work session.
Okay.
Maybe with whoever's gonna be in charge of doing the.
Okay, and we'll just reach out to Louis Lashley. He had mentioned that he's willing to sit in, and we'll have a work session. And we'll come with a proposal. But the idea was not so you do it every year. It's just a 3-year, 5-year period. 10 years I thought was a little bit long. But you put it out there. And like this was said there.
Except for $1 million.
And there you go, $1 million. you take it. But and what did you open up to the community? Part of the conversation I had with them, you don't just limit it to Jones County, which you'll love to have a Jones County business do it. But if 5 Star wanted to give us a donation, then we don't want to turn down a donation from 5 Star either. So thank you, Mr. Chairman.
When would you like to have the next meeting?
That'd be great. I don't know, sir. It will not be too soon. So we do it at 5 o'clock.
5 o'clock?
Was that June the something? June the 6th.
All right, June the 6th, at 5 o'clock, we'll have a scheduled work session for that. Any other discussion? We'll move on. All right. Number 5 is approved purchase of 2 Ford Explorers support vehicles through the state government sales for EMA.
Good evening, board.
Good evening.
How are y'all?
Great.
And you?
Not bad. Respectfully, I come tonight to ask if I can replace 2 aging vehicles. I've got a 2007 Ford Crown Vic. It's a 3rd generation sheriff car. I want to replace. It's got 300, and I misquoted you a little while ago, Mr. Tommy. 373.179 is what's on the odometer. I'm not sure if it's turned another time or not, I don't know. The other vehicle that I want to replace tonight is a 2009 SUV Ford Explorer. It's got 133,977. I want to replace both of these vehicles. I actually want to deadline the Ford Crown Vic, which was a 3rd generation from the sheriff's office that we acquired. And the 2009 SUV, I want to put it to pull our boats and our Cascade system at Station 1. This is the reason why that I want to do a fixation on it, is 100% of our volunteers are checked out on driving, and they've got to have a good record to drive. To pull that Cascade system or to pull the boat, they must be checked out. What we've been pulling with it now is our rescue units. Not everybody can drive the rescue unit because you have to be, first of all, you got to be certified as a medical provider, and you've got to be certified as a, help me out. Nope. State requirement.
CDL.
Rescue tech. Rescue specialist, I'm sorry. I couldn't get it out. You have to be a rescue specialist to operate a vehicle. Not everybody can do that, but 100% of our people can pull a trailer that's got a good record. I went, instead of going out for bid, I went to the state, where they had the state bids, and the state bids is what I was really looking for were Tahoes. But if anybody's looked at Tahoes, Tahoes are tremendously out of range. So I went to the Ford. The Ford Explorer is $26,089 versus a Tahoe is right at $37,000 to $38,000 basic. Now I questioned there was 3 companies that had the state bid for Fords. This was the cheapest, which was Allen Vigil Ford out of Morrow, Georgia. They were all in range. There was $300 or $400 difference on them, but this company was the closest to us, and that's the reason why I asked to choose this one. The reason why the companies, I actually called some of the Chevrolet companies and asked why that there was a big difference in this. Well, these prices here on the Ford end are good until October, the last day of October of this year. Of course, the 18s are going to start coming out in September and all that. The last order that you can take will be the second week of June on any 2017. Anything after that will be a 2018, which will be 3 to 5% more. So that's why I was jumping the gun tonight. But get back to the Tahoes. The Tahoe, when the state started bidding these, the state or the Chevrolet company missed out on that day. And so there was several people that lost their job because they didn't go to that meeting. Much rather have a Chevrolet, but the Ford works for us. Is the Ford's working for the sheriff's office? And of course, we can't afford Chargers. We have no use for Chargers. I asked tonight to replace two vehicles. Each vehicle will be $26,089 apiece.
And how are you gonna pay for it?
I've got splotch, I've got impact fee, and I've got 2009 splotch still left.
Okay.
And the old Crown Vic will be junk.
It will be deadlined.
Atlanta soda. And then your current Explorer, it's gonna be a hand-me-down for somebody, or you gonna?
No, sir, it's going to be fixated on the Cascade system.
Okay, my bad. I got you. All right. Any discussion or questions from Mr. Brown?
Do you have another vehicle? We discussed this about adding on to our fleet, because if we,
Yes, sir.
if we buy 2 and get rid of 1 every time we do that, pretty soon we got 50% more vehicles than we had before. So, I mean, there's still a maintenance cost and a gas cost and all that, even though, and I agree that 133,000 miles has probably still got some use in it. Do you have another vehicle with 373,179 miles that you could?
Listen, I've actually got a fire truck that is a 1978 model, but it's only got 20-some thousand miles on it. Nothing of a support vehicle, we don't. No, sir, we don't. Fire engines, this is a whole different ballgame, and you know where that price goes.
So hypothetically, if we would only approve 1, if we were only getting rid of 1, could you find one then?
I could go to the junkyard, probably. Yes, sir.
Can't go by mileage on a fire engine anyway, other hours.
That's right. Actually, these Fords come with hours on them now. I didn't realize that. And I'm not sure why. I guess because they are, public service vehicles and they're going by hours now. So I noticed that there was no charge for the equipment and it had an hour odometer. And I suppose that's what that is.
I think what you were explaining, first of all, explain to everybody what the cascade system is.
Cascade system is anytime that we have a working structure fire of any sort or anything that requires us to use our breathing apparatuses. Just like we had this morning. Had a house fire at 4:30 this morning. We have to roll the cascade system to replenish our 20-minute bottles. Everybody knows that these 20-minute bottles don't last 20 minutes because we suck them dry very quick when you're moving around in that. So that's what the cascade system is.
And you've been having to bull it with the rescue unit.
Yes.
Does the rescue unit go to every fire?
It does. Yes, it does. It's due for every fire because of medical support and rehab. There's been several incidents where we've had to disconnect to go on a rescue call or accident while we're out with the cascade system. This will work with carrying a SUV with extra bottles and carrying that cascade system that's got more than a cascade system. It's got a cooling system in there that's got jackets in it that have cold water in it. And we'll put those on the firefighters when they're rehabbing. It's just another support vehicle is what it is. I don't want to gain any more vehicles than I do. But I think that this is a must that we fixate. The next thing that I would want to do is probably the next time, I don't want to purchase a trailer of sort. When we buy a cascade system, it comes with 4 wheels and a steering wheel, which has been very popular in Macon. And it works.
Commissioner Martin, you got a question?
Don, I'm just feeling some type of way that you got 300,000 miles out of a Vic and only 130 out of a Ford. So I'm just teasing Don. Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
We do have an AED out there.
He's so serious.
There was one in every vehicle.
I mean, in the hallway.
There's one out there too.
Your face did turn a little color.
Well, I didn't know where it was coming from. We do take care of our vehicles.
All right, we got a motion approved. Do we have a second?
Second.
Any more discussion? If none, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank y'all very much.
I appreciate it. That was mean. Sorry. All right, number 6, approval of FTA Transit 5311 FY16 Capital Supplemental Agreement 3 for a time extension only. This is project number T005553.
For the 12th time, make a motion to approve, Chairman.
12 times we done extended. We have a motion to approve. We have a second. Any discussion on this one?
Only question is, does this have anything to do with our senior center and the transportation that they use? No. Okay, just want to make sure. No. Okay.
I think we just put a rear end in this vehicle, didn't we? There, whatever. We spent $4,000 more on it to make
That's
6.
the one we replace next year.
That's what we're, okay, all right. Well, we got a motion to second and no more discussion. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Ayes have it.
Dayline. I think it was Dayline.
Old business, approval single source purchase for radio system through Loudon Communication. You get to come back up there again, $175,341.82.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you, Chairman. I'm trying to think what you called our old radio system. Dilapidate, who said that? Oh, never, that's not what he said. Seriously. Back in the fall or before Christmas or somewhere in there, we were looking at, replacing the system. We know that it's aging. We know that we can't get the parts for it anymore. We know this, we know that. I met with the sheriff, and the sheriff had bought a system a few years back, had trouble with it, but finally tweaked it enough to where it is very viable, very, very reliable. With that said, the night that I think Mr. Sam had saved my life on this one, because we tabled it. And because he's tabled it, I wasn't sure about single source service, and I had talked to Mr. Frank about it and Boss that we could do something like this. Well, with that said, the bid that we were looking at was $239,000 to replace everything and put a radio in everybody's hand by Motorola. That's good, but there's another system out there already in place that has been in place by the sheriff that I didn't know that it was on every tower we have. So the frame of the work and the infrastructure was already there. Well, I promised Mr. Sam that I would want to save $100,000 if I wanted to look into this. I told him a big fib. With it all said and done, and all the quote that came in, and a single source, which would be Loudon Communications, that does all the sheriff's work and would do all our work, it would be a savings of a little over $66,000. So it'd be $175,341.82. And I'm asking if we can go for this, and looking forward to making the change to go to digital.
Start on my right.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman. We beat this horse a long time.
Second. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion?
SPOS money,
Yes, sir.
and how much was budgeted SPOS?
I've got a little over $40,000 left in the 2009 splosh. I've got 130 some odd thousand in impact fees, and I've got $200,000 in the 15 splosh. I had to think about it. I budgeted $200,000 every year for the next 6 years. Actually 5 years now, because we're already half to this year.
All right, we have a motion and a second. If no more discussion, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chairman, just
Go ahead. Sure.
a little bit of clarification. This is a question for Mr. Giles. Was that designated as a project? And where I'm going with this is according to law, if the project comes in under budget, we can now designate whatever's left from that budgeted line item, because that project is complete, right? So if there was $100,000 budgeted for this system and we spent 66, we got $34,000 in a line item that can be moved to another project.
Yes, sir, you gotta put it somewhere.
Right. It's either gotta be put to another project or go back to.
Within that department though, right? He's staying in the department.
Yeah, that project. You got all his attention. He's listening like that.
Because I guess what I got a comment question for Don. Don, I think that $200,000, that's just something that you're budgeting to spend $200,000 from SPOS dollars, or did you have $200,000 in your budget?
No, sir, I have $2,000 that was out.
$200,000?
$200,000 from the splosh.
See, he's using SPOS. So, and that's just a round number that you're using.
We never
Right.
buy anything capital.
Right.
In the fire end at all.
Identified as radio system 200,000. He's just taking 200,000 from his SPOS fund.
Right, yes.
Right. Yeah, so
No, we don't,
he tries to only spend $200,000 every year or something along those lines. So his money will last the 5 years that he has
Right,
for SPOS.
if I wait 5 years, there'll be $1 million
Yeah, there you
in
go.
my.
You got it?
Oh, I got it.
Okay.
Trust me, I got it. But my question is, how was it put to a vote? How was that SPOS line item? Did we
I'm
say?
sure it was not for your radio system.
No.
Yeah, so it's just, so in that instance, Commissioner, it's just coming out of the pot.
Pot.
It just stays, what he didn't spend is still there.
Capital expense for EMA and fire.
Yeah.
That's the way it states in the referendum.
Sam, you're used to $200 million splash budget for line items.
No, I'm real. I think when the people vote on something, they ought to know what they're voting on.
I agree
And
with you.
I don't know that the average taxpayer knows that they're voting on a $200,000 annual fund for whatever it is, whether it's radio equipment, water equipment, or whatever. I don't think that's the right way to put something out.
How did you like your Board of Ed splash? That's very generic.
I guess you leave that way so that you may dumb it out, know what's gonna come up in 3 years. And if he doesn't know, you decide on a line item, then it's up to the commissioners to find $200,000 for a radio system, which we didn't know we were gonna need 3 years down the road, so, I think that's one of the reasons that it's done that way.
You got 4 years to fix it, Sam.
Anything else? Let's move on. Any department heads have anything?
Yes, sir, I do.
Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead.
You jump first, come on, Don.
You close it. Got what I was gonna say.
Next meeting.
Mr. Risner and I had talked about this, and I wanted, you guys probably already know that the governor signed off on the House Bill 146, which is, we're mandated to purchase cancer insurance for all firefighters, whether it be paid, part-time, whatever. If they're a part of the fire department, then they've got to have insurance. The House or the Senate or whichever one it was, I get confused with that, but it says that we could, it's approximately $400 per head every year, approximately. So we're looking at $60,000 that I'm prepared to put in a budget for next year. And I think that we can beat this. I don't think that it's going to be 400. I think it was on the top end side, but I do want to just prepare. I know we'll be going into hearings soon, but it was approved, and I think that it's going to be in effect January 1 of 18, or was it July?
I'd have to check that.
And me too. And speaking about generic, it's very generic because I can't figure out how a physician is going to tell the difference. If you play golf every day and you're a firefighter, how's he going to tell, or how she is going to tell you've got cancer from being a firefighter? I'm just saying, I'm not sure how this is going to work. It's very vague, and it's going to be hard to prove one way or another.
Maybe the governor would tell us.
So maybe so, but I do want to prepare that we could up to $60,000 a year for our folks. I've approached VFIS, which is our volunteer carrier, and they told me that it is not going to cost us anywhere close to $400. Maybe $80 a year for each person, but still it's money, and I just want to prepare you guys for that.
Why didn't you lead with that, now? With the $80 instead of the $400?
Well, I just know it because it states in House Bill 146 that you got to put $400 in there, and that didn't make a whole lot of sense to me at all. But I understand them doing the top end, so.
So, just so I'm clear,
Yes, sir.
can we also look at, you reached out to a vendor, multiple vendors, to see what options we have and pricing on that?
Yes, sir.
Fantastic.
The volunteer, the BFIS, we pay approximately $15,000 a year for top-of-the-line insurance for our volunteers. You got to remember, ours is a little bit extra because
What hazard risk?
Well, we know that, but think about what they do for a living. Let's say they work at Geico and they blow out a femur tonight at a house fire. Then they're out of work at Geico.
Gotcha.
So it pays for both.
Gotcha.
So, and they're supposed to fight for your job too at Geico. So there's a lot more than meets the eye when it comes to volunteerism. And I can't say enough for our volunteers. It's crazy. These guys are good.
Thank you, Don. Matt, your turn.
This may not be something we can solve tonight, but it's something I need you to take as food for thought. At the golf course, there's been a practice over the years that people have been pulling their cars down towards, if you're familiar with the golf course from years ago, down toward the old concession swimming area, and they park there, then they fish. And you know, fishing is something that's been going on, public fishing is something that's been going on longer as I can ever play golf out there, and I haven't tried to deter that. But I got a phone call the other night from one of my employees out there, said that there's 2 boats in the pond. So we went out there and we asked them to leave, you know, get the boats out of the pond, I mean, fish from the bank. But I wanted to bring this up to your attention so we could talk about it, try to figure out, get your support on what we need to do. We're going to allow fishing from the bank only. We're going to allow boats in the water. What I would like to see is that fishing's fine, but all vehicles have to stay in the parking lot. For one, you know, where they park at, it's a little off the fairway, but there are golf balls that are occasionally hit over there. That, you know, we haven't never had, knock on wood, ever had anyone claim a broken window or anything for a stray golf ball. But they do park in an area that could potentially, you know, cause car damage. But I'm not so much worried about the car damage as I am people pulling boat trailers down and down and putting boats in the water. So I just want to get your thoughts on that and some direction.
I agree on the boat.
When's the last time we updated the park rules or the rules of the course?
As far as
Driving on the grass, putting a boat in a lake, you know, stuff, just, you know, minor issues
I don't know
like that.
I don't know that there's a manual out there that addresses that.
That's probably problem number one.
I mean, we have one that addresses golfers,
Right.
but as far as the general public coming to do fishing, we don't.
Well, I
To
think generic rules that the golfers would abide by, like, no, I mean, I'm sure there should be parking in designated parking places,
Correct.
no driving on the grass.
Correct.
That would apply to anybody out there, not just golfers, but fishermen too.
Well, they're not parking, where they're parking at is
Where do
actually.
the duck hunters park at?
I guess, Matt, didn't you put together,
That may be next.
didn't you put together a policy when it comes to like a dress code? You was asking guys to wear like collared shirts
We
or
have
something along
that.
those
We have
lines.
that.
So I just think you ought to put together a policy and let Jason review it, and that's just it. Whatever you recommend is in the best interest of the county when it comes to the person's safety, because you don't want anybody to get hit by a golf ball and nor anybody to fall off a boat and drown. So it's best you just kind of fish from the bank.
I've actually had complaints that, from golfers that I don't golf, so I'm just taking them at their word that, you know, they'll go to play through and there's golf carts parked like right next to the green and they didn't think that was allowable and.
Right, and we're addressing that.
Okay. Because I think if we got rules out there, you know, we need to make sure everybody's abiding by the rules. And if we don't, we need to create some rules.
No, we have those rules and we're addressing that. I just wanted to bring that to your attention because as, you know, I like to bring it to your attention anytime I think the general public's going to be ringing your phone when they get told they can't do something they've always done. And a lot of times that's what happens, and this may be one of those cases in this situation.
I've been here for 17 years. I've never heard of fishing in the golf course.
Oh, they fish every day out there, every day.
Find out.
Okay. Don's got a couple.
I've been playing golf out there since it was 9 holes, and they used to cut school and go out there, but let me ask this.
Don cut school.
What?
The liability of it is where I'm at with it when I'm looking at safety. Who's going to be responsible if somebody drowns or if somebody?
That's why you definitely, I'm glad y'all got the boats out there. I mean, if somebody falls in from a bank, I mean, you know, I hate to say, of course, we built the mat and the board, but fishing is not that uncommon in another, I don't know what they do like over in Milledgeville Monticello's got a little course, but I've seen people on a lot of golf courses fishing, public golf courses from the banks. But we don't need people out there in a boat when they can fall out and be kind of hard to drown. Most of that lake's pretty shallow around the edge.
I'm not against fishing because
But I think the
best thing.
boats need to be off of that lake for sure.
I'm not against fishing at all. I mean, I think it's the best thing for kids and all.
So, in the,
I've seen kids drown. Somebody looking this way and a kid wander off to the right or left or whatever, and they drown in this much water. I'm just saying, who will be responsible? The county?
Not necessarily.
No.
There's gotta be some it has to be a negligent condition
I got you.
for the landowner to be responsible.
so in the short term, it's okay for me to make sure all boats stay out until I get the policy back for y'all's approval?
I think you just do it. In my opinion, just have Jason review it and let's just update your policy. As long as you address all right, it needs to come back before us. And I mean, he's a county administrator. As long as you address all our safety issues and
You
concerns.
can come fishing, sir.
Deer, I don't fish, I don't golf.
Freddie?
No, sir.
I thought I saw you rocking your seat. I thought you just wanted to come up here.
No, sir.
Any other department head? Well, we'll go on commissioner's comment. Commissioner Pitts, you want to start tonight?
Yeah, I got a lot too, Chairman. Yeah, there you go. Maybe want to come and start me last.
Motion to adjourn.
No way. I gotta say it. I got something to say. You're gonna hear it. Just want to give everybody an update. Went to the city council meeting yesterday, and Commissioner Kitchens and Matt was with us. Gave them a presentation on the expansion, what we've done, what we've got to get done, as well as the inclusive playground. They jotted down some numbers, so they said they're going to study it, and they may end up giving us a donation. So I'm hoping in the next couple of weeks, we'll hear some good news from them. Another thing I want to put in a request that Freddie and Jason gets together and make some recommendations to the board, because I'm really interested in this $90,000 project of getting the meters put in, whether the funds come from SPOS funds, the construction account, and I don't know if Freddie has any impact fees or not, but give us a recommendation where you guys would like us to, would you recommend us take those resources to get those meters in place so we can get some additional revenue to make improvements to our water system as well as meet our constituents' needs. It's got two initiatives that I'm working on, and if any commissioner is interested in helping, I would love your support. The first initiative is share your ideas, and this is one for our employees. So we always want to save money, and our employees know what goes on a day-to-day basis, and I feel like in order if they share an idea, we should reward them. It goes where an employee shares an idea of how they can save money with the county. If the commissioners accept it, implement the idea, and if it's proven to have a savings of approximately $1,000, then the employee will get a one-time incentive of 10% or $100. So if you save us $1,000, it's proven, we'll give you 100. You save us 10,000, we'll give you 1,000. So what it is, it was in a NACO article about a month ago about where another county's done it, and they end up saving money. And I mean, it's a win-win for the county because we look at the budget, we think of things, but these guys are on the ground every day. And they know they may have some ideas of how we can save some money. And if we're going to reward them financially, I think they'll be more apt to share that information with us. And the last initiative that I'm working on, I'm going to be working with Ms. Claudia and Mr. Butch about quarterly wellness screens. We do a health fair once a year. And it's sad, but sometimes people only get a blood pressure check once a year. So with this new initiative I want to put in place is we do quarterly screens and make sure that people are getting the physical exam, vision exam, dental exam, blood pressure, glucose, BMI. They enroll in a Walk Georgia program. They log in their activities in Walk Georgia. They use our wellness center. They do aerobic activities as well as strength training. And with those points, if a person, I'm making this up, that's a total of 200 points. So if a person gets 150 points, we reward them for with the $100. Or you get 100 points, you only get $50. But there's some type of incentive to encourage people to be active, and in the long run, the more healthy our employees are, it's going to save us on our insurance costs. So those are two initiatives that I want to continue to work on. It'll be on the agenda soon. But like I said, the first one is share your ideas, and the other one is quarterly wellness screens. So that's it, Mr. Chairman.
All right, Mr. Kitchens?
I'm not gonna be that long tonight. Sometime back, we asked about surplus property or property that the county owns. We need to put that on the agenda sometime, or at least on a work session or something, to talk about what property do we want to keep and what do we want to put back on the tax rolls, because any of it that we're not using, we're not getting any money for it if it's just sitting there. Second thing, Commissioner Martin brought it up some time back about preparing for budget work sessions. I would hope that we start earlier this year, because, personally, I'd like to go in depth into them, line by line. I know it's done, line by line, I know it's been done before, but, looking at a 3-year, what was approved and what was actually spent, so we could, because I think it's our duty and our job to make tough decisions and really question where we're spending our money and where we're spending the taxpayers' money, rather. So I hope we can start early on that. That's it.
Mr. Robinson? The ideas program that Commissioner Pitts was talking about, we had a couple of those going on at J.M. Huber, where I retired from, and they were very beneficial. The front line, the people working on the front lines, they do know where the waste is, and trouble is they have a hard time getting somebody to listen to them a lot of times, but that will work, sure will. Thank you. That's it. Commissioner Martin?
I just want to say real quickly, congratulations to our track team. They took over 60-something to district, and out of that, almost 38 were either district champs or runners up. Then they took that number to state, and we had a number of state champs, as well as some teams that broke some records and some individuals. Specifically, Aaron Blunt broke a state record in the 400 meters for our 13, 14-year-old, and he's coming up to the high school. With that being said, they're asking for a track, and I promised that I would give them your phone number. So if you have specific numbers you'd like them to dial, give them to me tonight. Other than that, I'm going to give them the context from the phone number, from the phone. We went all the way to Augusta for state, by the way, and a large contingency went out there. Took some pictures. There were a few thousand people in the stands, and all I could think of was 5, 10, 15, 20. When I got done, it was, over $10,000 in just door fees. When we talk about revenue streams, whether it's Highway 18 or others, we have to look at all the sources. On the other side, the health piece is really neat. I know Geico did that Fitbit thing, and they also did some rewards, and the first thing that came to mind was Biggest Losers, whether it's inches or pounds, and that will obviously help our overall risk factor, probably for our health insurance. And coupled with the monetary side of it, giving some of those things out, helps. Geico did it in such a big way where all the employees got it, but then it also became a scoreboard sort of challenge where you could track how many miles somebody pedaled or walked or rode, and it became competitive, and I can't remember what the reward was, but it was pretty neat. So considering the number of employees that we have, it might be worthwhile, and the insurance company might have some benefit in there that can help support it. Docs on the website, again, we have a book in front of us, so we have an advantage over everybody else that's in the audience, and we talked about having some interaction with them or allowing them to have a say before we vote or before we finalize something. One way to make sure that they are at least up to speed and we are transparent is providing those docs out on the website. I don't think we have anything that's private.
They're there.
Okay, so.
Been there since 2015.
Okay, and just so they know how to do it, not me, because you give it to us, we appreciate it. Do y'all know how to access it off the web? No, okay. So maybe we can just demonstrate that one day so they can have it. And I'd almost go a little bit further and say, hey, you know what, if we had some spare tablets around and we could share that where, hey, they could log in. If not, bring your own tablet. We'll give you a visitor Wi-Fi password, because inside this building is hard if I bring my own tablet to get access to it. So, that's about it. Thank you.
Mr. Risner, I forgot to ask you if you had any comments earlier. You're good to go?
I'm good. Thank you.
All right.
Chairman, can we recognize Mr. Blunt for he broke his state record, so we've got a new state record holder from Jones County.
That's a girl.
It's a boy.
Boy.
Aaron's a girl.
And it's a
I'm
boy.
thinking about the other area. I'm sorry.
And I'll find out if there are more. I know that one for sure.
And then the young lady wants to stay
The
again.
least we could do is bring them in here and recognize them. I don't know how we do resolutions or proclamations or anything that.
We never done it in the past.
But did we have the young lady win state for the second year also?
You sure did. You had a number of winners.
Aaron
We
Leonard.
need to let them know we're proud of them.
Yeah.
I'll set it up.
All right, good deal.
Thank you.
Anything else? Citizens time. Anybody like to come forward? Come.
Terry Denson, 2714 Old Gray Highway. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Lady and gentlemen, I think about March, someone was reappointed to a board, and the board said at that time they were going to look into starting new policies and procedures so that the next time a vacancy occurred, there'd be a different set of policies and procedures, and there wouldn't be just an automatic reappointment of someone who was on the board, and that board nominations and recommendations would be a more open system. And so far as I know, that hasn't occurred. I haven't seen a work session scheduled for anything like that. And I appreciate your sense of punctuality, but when you stop a work session and start a new business section immediately, it doesn't give the public much opportunity to come in and sign for that 3
Oh, I'm
minutes.
sorry. Did you want to sign? I'd be glad to give you, I do apologize.
That's all right.
I
It's
stand
just hard to
corrected.
sometimes get your thoughts together in that 1 minute
Right.
allocation time. And I also appreciate the fact that you're looking after financial resources and taking a page from my father's playbook and asking, well, that's fine, dear, but how are you going to pay for this? I think that should, always be the question, like, is this in the budget and how do you plan to pay for it? And definitely the budget process needs to start earlier than it has been and be taken more seriously. And I thank you for your time.
If you want to take 3 minutes, or you plan on, I'm more than
That's all
welcome to
right.
take it.
That's
My
all right.
apology.
Oh, one more thing about this fishing. I had no idea you could fish at the golf course.
Who knew?
But if you do allow that, please put up a sign that you fish at your own risk or something like that.
No
That's
lifeguard
all.
on duty.
All right, thank you very much. Anybody else 1 minute? No, you go 3 minutes, or you planning on signing in? I didn't give you the opportunity to do it. Okay. I didn't want to short anybody.
Jerry Rowland, I live at 360 Homer Roberts Road. I also have property up on Stallings. I'm glad to hear that we're going to do the radios, because I was up there Saturday, got a call, and I couldn't hear it.
Wow.
So, I'm glad we're going to get the radios done.
All right, I appreciate you, thank you. Anybody else 1 minute? Nobody else wants to come forward?
They'll find you that Saturday is, Armed Forces Day. Somebody's in the military. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Anybody else? Mr. Pitts, it's your time.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Chairman.
I got a motion? Second. And a second. All in favor, aye? Aye. I'm gonna retain you for.
I'm gonna get you out here, right? I'm gonna keep you moving.
Well, make sure I didn't write no